So time to dig in. I don't know how many I've got, but this is a mixture of bronzers, highlighter, sorry, this is a mixture of bronzers, contours, and blushes. Highlighters is separate. I was making an attempt to actually count them. I've got over 100 highlighters, so I'm keeping that one till after this video. But I have this storage container. I actually got this from, I think, IKEA, not too sure, but this is where I'm going to be keeping all the items that I am saving. So I'm going to put that right here. Any items that I'm going to be getting rid of, aka going to family and friends, or going into the trash because it's old, or I think all of them, but maybe not. Any ones that I'm going to be doing a giveaway with, I will say, but there'll hardly be any, to be honest. They're gonna go to family and friends. The ones that I have for giveaway are already in my giveaway box downstairs. So these are just the stuff that have made their way into my collection somehow, but either I want to keep them and keep using them, or I want to get rid of them. So I'm not going to particularly do bronzers first and then do blushes first. I'm just going to pick and go. So wherever my hand goes is where we dive into first. As I said in the beginning, this might not be a declutter video. This might just be a collection video. I don't know yet. I've never actually reviewed my collection, so this is going to be interesting. Whatever it is, I've probably termed the video so you know what you're watching. So let's just start. Right, so because this one's in front of me, this is the Afterglow blush from Urban Decay. Now these blushes were very, very popular when they first came out. And I remember that I picked up 2 of them. So this one is Bang, which is beautiful orange color. It's about the only really pigmented orange blush I have in my collection. So I'm definitely keeping this one. Next is the Juvia's Place, the Saharan blush palette. This is the volume 1 palette. This is the one that is really dark girl friendly in terms of all the shades being really friendly for my skin tone and darker. I love this palette. I use it a lot in my videos. I've used it recently in a couple of my videos, so it's definitely a keep. That orange blush is very pretty. If you're my skin tone or lighter, it kind of just looks like your skin's been just blushed, like your natural blush just comes through, as opposed to the fact that you've just applied a blush. This one acts as a really good contour shade if used really lightly, and this one is like a contour blush shade. So I do love the versatility of this. And then these highlighters are super pretty. I'm not sure if swatches will be of any use to you guys, but this is kind of like what I mean by like your skin's been lightly blushed. It's just a super pretty blush, so I am definitely keeping this one. Next is the MUA Academy Glow Bronzer, and this one is in Golden Dunes. One thing, I do love the packaging of this, and I do love the colors. However, this guy doesn't bronze me. Like, even when you swirl your brush and you've got all the shades, it just looks really ashy on my skin tone. So I've only used it the one time, and I realized it just wasn't made for me. So if you're my skin tone or darker, this definitely isn't for you. So I'm actually going to gift this because I've only used this once. I've got someone that's quite light that might be able to get some use out of it, so I'll declutter this one. Woohoo! My first declutter. And then the next one, just because it's in front of me, is the Tartiste Contour Palette. This one is the Makeup Shayla collaboration, I believe. And I believe this was one of the first collaboration products that I got from... this is one of the first collaboration products that I bought to support Shayla. And I really loved this. Like, I really used this in its heyday. That color called Correct? No. Sorry. That color is a contour shade. So you've got two contour shades, and then you've got the highlighter, you've got a blush, you've got a little highlighter here as well. This thing's really old, like it's really old, and in its heyday that contour shade, as you guys can see, has a massive dip. I used the hell out of this thing, and that one I didn't use so much because it was slightly too dark for me, and the highlighter shades were underwhelming, I remember, so I didn't really use them. And then the blush was just not the right tone of blush. The packaging itself is super pretty, and I did enjoy that contour shade when I used it, but as I said, it is super old, so I'm going to declutter this one. Next one is this Ofra Compact, and this is one of the Samantha March collaborations, I believe. This one is the bronzer duo in River. Now, you would think that this would actually suit my skin tone, but it's just way too light. And even when you swirl your brush to try and get like the color, it just doesn't, like, where is it? It just doesn't work for my skin tone. And plus, the half part of it is supposed to look like it's got some shimmer in it, but it just looks like an overspray. So yeah, I'm gonna declutter this. It just doesn't work for my skin tone. Where to go next? So next are this MAC Toledo collection. I remember when this collection came out, I got the blushes. God, everyone was scrambling to get something. I got the blushes there, I got the lipsticks. The lipsticks I really love. I have one of the lipstick shades that I still have, and I used it to filth. You guys can see how like badly, oh god, I used this to death. But this particular shade is the, what's this one, Ripe Peach one. This is the one that looks orangey, and it's the ombre one. I haven't reached for this blush in a long time, and the reason is because it's not very pigmented. Like, it's very beautiful in the compact, but sis isn't very, like, sis isn't, where's sis? Sis doesn't show. Sis isn't very obvious. So I know this is a limited edition collection, so I will probably and it's super old, but I know there's some collectors out there, and I still have the box. I'll probably try and sell it. If I can't, I'll probably do a back to MAC. I don't know yet, but I'll definitely decluttering it from my collection anyway. Next is this Karen Cosmetics blush, and this one is in blush 05 Deep Grape, and I do love this blush, maybe because it's got like a plummy cool tone undertone to it. It is pretty, but if you don't use it properly, it can look like your skin is bruised. But I do like it, and I do use a light touch to it, so I will be keeping this one. Next is one of my favorite blushes of all time. Like, literally wondering why I haven't hit pan. I'm so close though, I can already see it at the bottom. This is the MAC Cosmetics Sweet as Cocoa blush. I've had this blush for ages. I know in my spirit this blush has expired, but I love it and it still performs, so I am going to be keeping it. Beautiful blush. Next is the MAC Cosmetics Film Noir. Now, I don't know for the life of me why I picked this up. Maybe because I thought I could use it as a contour shade, but it's just too warm to use as a contour shade, and I'm not dark enough for it to be a good blush. So I'm going to declutter this one. Next is my next all-time favorite blush, and this is the Black Up blush in shade number 12. I use this blush a lot as well, maybe because it's got like a berry undertone. It's super pretty. It's just really super pretty blush, and it's just, yeah, it's just warms up the skin quite nicely, so I am going to be keeping this one. And then we have another MAC blush. This one is in Sketch. Similar to the MAC Film Noir one. I haven't really used this because it just feels a little dark for me, and it's beautiful, but it's just way too dark for me, and I can't really do much with it, so I am going to declutter it. And then another blush. This one is a really good drugstore blush, and this one is from B Cosmetics. Now B Cosmetics is Superdrug own brand, and this is their blush in Roses Are Red, and it is a very pretty blush. It's like a pinky undertone blush without being too pinky, because you guys know I don't really like pink. But I do love this blush. It is affordable and it is very beautiful on my skin tone. Next is a Revolution blush, and this one is in Swoon. And I love the design on the blush. The design is super pretty. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really do much. It's really pink. I don't really like pink blushes. I kind of like more like the terracotta, orange, berry undertone type of blushes. So, I mean, this doesn't really add to my look. So I'm going to declutter this one. Another MAC blush is the infamous MAC Raisin blush. I absolutely love this blush. Just like Sweet as Cocoa, it's probably expired. In my spirit, I know it's expired, but I can't bring myself to buy another one, and I can't bring myself to declutter this one. It's just really beautiful blush, so I'm gonna have to keep this. Another face palette is the Nip and Fab contour palette, and this one is in shade Dark. And I did use this palette. As you guys can see, I'm very close to hitting pan on that shade. That shade is a beautiful contour shade. That's a beautiful bronzer type of shade because it's a little warmer and a little lighter. That's a beautiful blush shade. I didn't really touch that because it doesn't really work well with my skin tone, but I used this to kind of set underneath my eyes, and it works really well. And this is I didn't really use this either, but is it a highlighter? What is it? I don't know. It doesn't work for me, so oops, it doesn't work for me, so I didn't really do much with it. So might keep it. I mean, the blush is very pretty. It's a very pretty orange type of blush. I am gonna keep this for now because I don't have, I lied, the Patricia Bright is the drugstore. I was gonna say I don't have any drugstore, but I'm just gonna keep this for now and see if it makes it through the next declutter. Right, so the next two are these like blushed liquid creams from MUA Academy. I don't really like liquid blushes, and these shades are kind of off for me. This peachy puff one is way too light for my skin tone, and this one is not dark enough and it's too pink, so I'm gonna declutter these two. Next is my blush from Makeup Academy, and this one is a matte blush in Blushed. I've only used this once, and when I used it, I just felt like it was just way too light. Like, it didn't give my skin anything, and the pattern is very pretty. It is a beautiful drugstore blush, but it just doesn't do anything for me. Like, you can see it's way too light, so gonna declutter that one. Next is another favorite blush of mine, and this one is from Motives Cosmetics. This is actually, is it a blush? Yeah, it is. It's called Bossy from Motives. Now, I have a more like a hate relationship with Motives Cosmetics, but let's just leave it there. So the blush itself is pretty. It is pretty darn old. It's even older than the MAC blushes. So it is a beautiful blush. I might repurchase it, but just because I like the blush, not because of the brand, but I do love the blush. I am gonna declutter this because it's super old. It's even older than the MAC blushes, so yeah, it needs to go. Next is this gorgeous blush from NYX Cosmetics, and this one is called the Paradise Fluff Ombre Highlighter. It's a is it a blush? It's marketed as a highlighter, not as a blush, but I use it as a blush because this doesn't really highlight anything in my mind. So if I swipe that, you guys see that it kind of gives more of a color than a highlight. But it's not as pigmented as I'd like it to be, so I'll probably use it as a topper on top of my blush from Urban Decay. So I am going to keep this one. And this is just the packaging from the Urban Decay blush that I'm going to get rid of. I do have another blush from Urban Decay, and this one is the Bittersweet blush. This is the only purple blush that I have, and that works beautifully well for my skin tone and even darker. The color is super pretty, and you only need the tiniest bit, like literally the tiniest bit, and it sits really well on top of makeup. So I am definitely keeping this as a good quality blush. Next is this blush quad from Black Op, and this one is called the Blush Me Up blush. I do love the formula of Black Op blushes, Black Op Cosmetics generally. I love the formula of their product. So yeah, I do like the quality of their blushes. I like the quality of their products generally, and I do love the quality of these blushes. So this one, oh god, is so pigmented. Ooh, so pigmented, guys. Like, you definitely only need to tap your brush in it once, because look, that is a blush. How mad is that? Look at the purple one. That is a blush. The orange, look at that. And then this color. Like, what? This is a blush. This is a blush quad. So tiniest bit goes a long way. So I am definitely keeping this because it's such a beautiful blush quad. Next are my Double Down Cosmetics blushes. Double Down Cosmetics are vegan, cruelty free. They make really good natural products. I have a collaboration with them, collaboration highlighter and eyeshadow that I absolutely love. I do love their products. I'm definitely keeping these blushes because they're super pigmented and they're really good for your skin. Very nice. They blend easily. They work well with other makeup products. And the two blushes that I have, this one is called The Standard, and this one kind of has like a shimmer undertone to it. Very nice, beautiful blush. And then this one is called The Statement, and this one is a matte blush. You have more like a terracotta sandy color to it. It's super pretty on the skin. I do have a discount code with Double Down Cosmetics that'll give you 15%, I want to say, off your products. But as always, I will link all the discount codes I have with any of these brands in the description box below. But I'm definitely keeping these two blushes. Plus I like the packaging. They're super easy to travel with, and they have this like sealant that just keeps your product in place. So definitely keeping. Next is this Bella Pierre blush, and this one is in Desert Rose. I've only used this once, and the only reason why I didn't use it more than once is because it doesn't have a sieve to protect it, and also because the color is quite light. So it's so light. It's too light for my skin tone, so I'm definitely gonna declutter this one. Next is this Sleek blush, and this one is in Flame. Oh my god, you know, I actually forgot that I have this in my collection. This blush in its heyday was everything. That color is so pigmented, and that one's beautiful. That's more like like illuminating blush. This is a matte blush, that's a matte blush. I have to swatch this. Like, oh my god, back in the day everyone and their mama had these blush trios from Sleek. It's not performing as well because it is super old. Yeah, it is a bit dusty, so I am gonna declutter it because I actually did forget that I had it in my collection. But the next time I shop on Superdrug, I will be picking this up again because these trios are really good quality, good value for money, and when you use them they do perform really well. I know I have another one, maybe. Yes, I do. This one. So I have this one as well, the Blush by 3, and this one is in Pink Sprints. I know I've used this one. The orange one probably once, but this one I used quite a bit. Yeah, this one's got some use to it. Let's see if it still performs. And remember that you just needed to tap a little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is still performing quite nicely. It's not as grainy as the orange one, so I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. That berry tone, which is this color, is super pretty. Yeah, super pretty. I'm definitely going to keep this one. The next product that I have, I was just talking to my son. The next product that I have is actually my favorite bronzer of all time. Like, so far this is the best bronzer I've used in a long time, and this is the Morphe Glamour Bronze Bronzer in Phenom. This came in the limited edition packaging with the 35G, I think is the bronze gold eyeshadow palette that I showed you guys in my eyeshadow collection. This is the one that I said any day now I feel like I'm gonna hit pan because I use it so much. It is a very beautiful bronzer. I believe you can still get this from Morphe, just not in this packaging. You'd get it in their standard packaging, but trust me guys, if you're my skin tone or slightly darker than me, this is your bronzer. This thing is beautiful. Just watch any of my tutorials, you'll see that I reach for this guy. I use it a lot. It's always either between this one or the Benefits Hoola bronzer, but 9 out of 10 it's usually this guy. I absolutely love this bronzer and I fully recommend it. It's gorgeous. Now, I don't really store that many contour creams because they do go bad quite quickly, but I have this one from Huda Beauty in shade medium, and this is the one I use in virtually all my videos if I do contour, and it's this one. And you can see I've hit pan. I need a replacement, but this is what I use. It's a great contour bronzer type of cream, very useful, and it will last you a really long time. I've been using this since at least towards the end of last year, and this is where we get to. And literally I wear makeup almost every day, so it is value for money. This is what I use when I want a cream contour. 9 out of 10 times this is the guy I reach for, so I am definitely keeping this. I do have it as well in another shade. My friend gifted this to me, including the medium color, but this one is just way too light for me, so I'm probably going to gift this to my sister because she's way lighter than I am. So I am going to declutter this one. And then speaking of contours, I've got this cream contour palette from e.l.f. So this cream contour palette from e.l.f. is a good dupe, good affordable dupe if you don't want to purchase the Huda Beauty one. And this is what it looks like inside. Granted, you're not gonna use all the shades, and I believe this one is in shade, it doesn't say, so maybe it is the one shade that they do, but not all the shades are gonna work for you. But that shade and that shade are beautiful. I normally mix the two of them. I will swatch just so you guys can see. The consistency is very creamy and it blends into the skin quite nicely, including that one. So I normally mix this two because this one is warmer than that, so by the time I mix it I get my perfect shade. But yeah, you can see the blushes have kind of stained me. So if you don't want to purchase the Huda Beauty one, you could definitely use this. I'm not sure if this comes in darker shades, but it's definitely worth checking out. I don't use these two because they just don't match me, but these two have worked quite nicely, so I am going to keep this as a drugstore version. Next we have this I Heart Revolution Banana Frosting. This came in the donut tray that I showed you guys in my eyeshadow collection video. So this one is a highlighter actually, so I shouldn't be showing you guys. So let's keep this for the highlighter video. But another one that was in that pack is this one, which is Pink Frosting. This is the blush. And this is what it looks like. I haven't used this, but again, it's like the color that doesn't really work for me. It's very pink, and you know, it just doesn't work for me. So this is what it looks like inside, but as you guys can see, it's the color that doesn't really work for me. The pink, it just doesn't work. So I am going to give this away. Super cute though, but just doesn't work for me. And then I've got this really old sleek contour kit in shade, what shade is this one? This is the pressed powder and highlight in medium, and I did use this in its heyday. It's a really good contour powder with a good highlighter. I haven't used this in a long time, so I don't know if it still performs. But I'm going to declutter this because it is super duper old. Honestly guys, some of these stuff were stuck behind my drawer that I've just not seen in a long time. So one that was also stuck behind my drawer is this e.l.f. blush, and this one is the Luminous Berry blush. And you would think that this color would work really nicely. It's super pretty, but sis don't blend, so declutter. Another one is the Heartbreakers blush from I Heart Revolution. I used this recently in a video using I Heart Revolution products, and I do love this blush. It's a beautiful matte blush. I love the color because it's slightly darker, and even when you mix the two, it just gives off such a pretty berry undertone type of blush. So I'm definitely keeping this one. I've also got another Samantha March blush duo, and this one is in Chicklet, and similar to the other bronzer compact, it's just very underwhelming. Half of it is, it looks like it's got overspray over it, but then the color just doesn't do anything. It's just way too light for me, and it's just ashy sis. So I'm not even gonna bother swatching it. It just doesn't work for me, so I am going to declutter this. And then one of my other favorite bronzers is the Hoola bronzer from Benefit Cosmetics in Toasted. Who would have thought that Benefit Cosmetics would make one of my favorite products of all time? I remember when they came out with the Hoola range, and none of the shades worked for dark people, but now they've got a full selection of shades for darker people. So that goes to show how far the industry's come. But this is what it looks like. It is very beautiful, very nice bronzy color. I mean, swatching is not really going to do much, just take my word for it. A lot of my videos either have this one or have the Morphe one, but I do love this blush, and it's great for traveling as well. Nice and compact, very cute. Only got a few products left. So this one is another Morphe product, and this is their 8H highlights and contour palette, and I love this palette. I love it. I love that shade. It is slightly redder than I would like, but with a light hand it is a beautiful bronzer shade. So what I've started doing is swirling my brush around these full colors, just because these two colors are a little cooler tone, so they kind of like dumb down this really red undertone bronzer and make it really nice. The highlight shades as well are super pretty, so definitely keeping this. Next is the Aurora powder from Sigma, and I think I used this only once, and this is Nymphea, and it's an Aurora powder. With these Aurora powders, I just wasn't sure what they're for. Is it a blush? Is it an all over face powder? Whatever the case may be, it just doesn't work with my skin tone. It's way too light, so I am going to declutter this one. And then I have the Saharan Blush Volume 2 palette from Juvia's Place, and I especially like this because of that blush shade and that kind of like blush highlighter, if you like, shade, just because it's got a shimmer to it. It's so pretty, so pretty. So that's kind of like why I like it. This shade as well is quite nice. It takes the right look to use this shade. This is way too pink for me, and I just don't dip into this one, but just for the purpose of these two shades I am gonna keep this palette. Next is this Caron Cosmetics blush, and this one is in rich pink. Yeah, it's too light, so I haven't really used it much, and I think the light is even washing it out a little bit more, but it's just way too light for me, so decluttering. And then I have this Cheek to Chick palette from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is their Swish and Pop blusher in the Climax, and this one just about kind of works for me in the winter months. It is super light for me in like normal months and summer, but in the winter months it kind of just works. It just ever so slightly kind of just works. It just gives me a flush of color on my cheeks, but I have to swirl the brush around to kind of capture both sides. So I have used it quite a bit. As I said, I only use it in winter months, but I am gonna keep it because, you know, I can get some use out of it. Plus it was super expensive, so I'm gonna keep that one. And then I've got a blush trio from Anastasia Beverly Hills in Pool Party, and this is one of my favorite blushes. I do love the shade, but what I love to do the most is swirl my brush around both three shades. But this shade, guys, is so beautiful. It's like the right type of pink for me. I know it kind of swatches like it's way too light, but trust me, when it's on makeup, it's super pretty. Including this shade, when it's on makeup, it is very pretty. So I kind of like just swirl my brush, and it just works really nicely for me. Hopefully the light isn't washing it out too much, but it is pretty, so I am going to keep that one. We're down to the last few. This one is the I Heart Revolution Heartbreakers Shimmer Blush in Strong. I don't think I've used this. I don't even think I've taken it out of the packaging other than to take pictures of it. But it kind of just reminds me of the matte blush, just like the shimmer version. So it is very pretty. So I am going to keep it because it is a shimmer version of the matte. So definitely a keeper. Next is the Sigma Sculpt Highlight and Contour Palette. I recently brought this out again in a video that I did, and I absolutely love this. The highlighter shades in this palette is so pretty, and that shade is such a good contour shade. You're not going to get a bronzer out of this palette. It's just way too light for bronzing, but that for contouring is really nice. This highlighter is super pretty, so is this one and this one. So I'm gonna give you guys some swatches of the highlighters just because it is so pretty. But as I said, Hollow is such a beautiful contour shade. If you're my skin tone or slightly, if you're my skin tone or lighter, Hollow would definitely work for you. So I'm gonna keep this. Next from Sigma as well is this blush palette, and this one is the, what's it called? So this is the Sigma blush cheek palette, and I do love this blush palette. Obviously not all the shades in here work for me, but this shade is so pretty. This shade as well. I tend to mix these two together. This shade is nice. It can pull off a little cool tone on me, so be careful if you are interested in this one. I like this color. It is very beautiful but more skin like, so if I just want like just a little, like tiniest bit of color on my cheeks, I normally go for this one. These two shades I haven't used, I haven't touched, but I am gonna keep this palette because I obviously more than 50% of it is what I use, so actually get rid of that. So I'm gonna keep this one. And then I have got the Gerard Cosmetics Starlet palette, and this consists of Timeless, Lucy and Dorothy. I'd say it's predominantly more highlight than anything, but this shade is so pretty. So pretty. Sometimes I use it as a blusher depending on how the look comes out. Sometimes I use it as just like a gentle contour setting powder, you know, when you go in with your cream and you want to use something to kind of like set it in place. That's what I use it for. I do have these two highlighters in their bigger version, but obviously I do love this palette. It's great travel friendly palette, very thin and very beautiful. So I am definitely going to be keeping this one. Chuck these out. And the last item is this Bang Beauty cream color blush in Dolce Pink or Dulce Pink, I don't know. I think I only opened this once and I was like, nah, it's a cream blusher, not for me. So yeah, cream color, not for me. So I am gonna declutter this one. So that's all the palettes. So I'm just going to lay out all the palettes that I'm going to be keeping against the ones that I'm going to be decluttering. So I've got 19 blushes and 13 contour bronzer shades. So these are definitely all the products that I'm keeping. And so 19 and 13 is 22 products that I'm keeping. 32 products, oh god. 19 and 13 is 32 products that I'm keeping all together. So these are the products that I'm getting rid of, and I'm getting rid of 23 products. I'm keeping 32, getting rid of 23 products. So I had 55 products all together, both blushes, bronzers and contours. So that is a lot. So yeah, that's a lot, but not as much as I thought I'd have. But I'm happy that I'm getting rid of these. Some of these are going to be gifted, some of these are going to be chucked, some of these I'm going to try and sell because they're limited edition. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you found some favorites or some products that you're interested in. As always, I'll leave all links to discount codes and stuff in the description box below. Definitely check out the eyeshadow collection video if you haven't. I will link the playlist in the description box below. I think I want to do highlighters next, so wish me luck because I've got at least almost 200 if not more highlighters. So yeah, definitely wish me luck. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, God doesn't like ugly. Please subscribe if you haven't, share the video, and I will catch you guys in a future video. Definitely leave me a comment. I'd like to know how many is in your personal collection. Speak to you guys later. Bye.